topic is special cases of elastic collision. Special cases of elastic collision. Elastic collision. So here today we will talking about the four special cases of elastic collision. If we talk about the first case, what is the first case? That if m1 is equals to m2, right? If m1 is equal to m2 or it's equal to m, so what will happen? Suppose that this is a mass m1 and this is a mass m2, right? This m1 is moving with the velocity of u1 and this m2 is moving with the velocity of u2, right? This is the initial velocity of this, right? When they will collide, what will happen, right? So now when they will both collide with each other, this one m2 or m1 and m2, u1 and this is u2, right? So when they will collide with each other, this m1, the velocity on m1 will be changed from u1 to the v1 and the velocity of m2 will be changed to the v2 from the u2, right? When m1 is equals to the m2, so when they will collide with each other, the v1 will be equals to the u1 and the v2 will be equals to the u2. This will be the final initial velocity, and after collision this will be the final velocity, right? This will be the final velocity. Now here in this the velocities will get exchanged. How? That v1, in question it is given that v1 is equals to the u2 and v2 is equals to the u1. Now we will prove how these velocities got exchanged, right? Now here, as we know the formula of finding v1, that the v1 is equals to the m1 minus m2 upon m1 plus m2 multiplied by the u1 plus 2m1 u1 or u2 upon m1 plus m2. This is the formula of finding v1. So now how we will find this, right? Now this is a v1 that will be equals to the m1 minus m2 upon m1 plus m2 u1 plus 2m2 u2 upon m1 plus m2, right? Now how we will find this? Now v1 is equals to the, as I said that m1 is equals to the m2 and that is equals to the m, right? When m1 will be, suppose that m1 is a 5 kg and m2 is also 5 kg, then we multiply both, that will be equals to 0 and these both are equal, so this term will get 0 because here upon is also that m1 plus m2, this whole term will be equals to 0, right? After this we will talk about this 2m m2 u2 upon this will get 0, right? As I told that m2 is equals to m1, this term is remaining, that is a 2m2 u2 upon m1 plus m2. When we will plus this will be equals to the 2m2 u2 upon 2m, right? 2m2, right? Because when we multiply m1 plus m2, that will be the 2m2, right? Now 2m2 will be cancelled with 2m2. Now v1 is equals to the u2. You can see here, as I before I've discussed that in question it was given that velocity will get exchanged, that v1 will be equals to the u2. Now if we talk about the v2, right? If we talk about the v2, that will be the formula of v2 is m2 minus m1 upon m1 plus m2, that is multiplied by the u2 plus plus 2m1 u1 upon m1 plus m2, right? Now this will be the, this will get 0, whole term will get 0, right? Because when m2 will be minus with m1, that will be equal to, because these both are equal, right? m1 is equal to the m2, right? So this whole term will get equal to the 0, right? After that, 2m1 u1 upon m2 plus u m1 plus m2, right? So v2 will be equals to the 2m1 u1, this will be the 2m2 m1 plus m2, this will be 2m2, 2m1 is equals to 2m2. Now v2 is equals to the u1. You can see here the both result that these both velocities got exchanged. You can see here as I discussed that here v1 is equals to the u1 u2 and v2 is equals to u2. When they will collide with each other, this u1 velocity will exchange with the v2 velocity and u2 velocity will get exchanged with v2. If m1 is colliding with this u1 velocity will exchange with v2 and u1 will be equals to the v2 and u2 will be equals to the v1 velocity. u2 will be equals to the v1 velocity, right? So this was the case 1. When the same mass collide with each other, then they exchange their velocities. So that was the case 1. After that, we talk about the case 2 of the elastic collision. So case 2, in this it's written there that m1 is equal to the m2, that will be equals to the m, and u2 is equals to the 0. Initial velocity of u2 is equals to 0. Now here what is given, that suppose that this is a m1 and this is a m2. This is moving with the velocity of u1 and this is moving with the velocity of u2. Now it's given that u2 is equals to 0. In this, u2 is equals to 0, right? Now when they will collide with each other, what will happen? When they collide with each other, what will happen? Here m1 v1 will be there after collision, and here m2 v2 will be there. How? Because v2, now v1 will be equals to 0. How? After collision, as I before discussed in case 1, that v1 is equals to the u2 and v2 is equals to the u1, right? So when they will get exchanged, this u1 will be equals to the, so here v1 is equals to u2 and v2 is equals to u1. So v1, this u1 will be equals to the v2, that is u1 is equals to the v2, and here u2 is equals to 0. u2 is equals to 0, so v1 will be 0. u2 is equals to 0, so automatically the v1 will be 0. v1 is equals to 0. So u1 is equals to the v2 and v1 is equals to 0. This is a result of the case 2, right? If we talk about the case 3, here, what is the case 3? Case 3, right? In this it's written there when a light body collide with massive body, then here m1 is very greater, m1 is very less than the m2 and u2 is equals to the 0. Then what will happen? Now suppose that m1, here I have written that m1 is small, this is a m1 and this is a m2. This is higher mass and this is lower. m1 is less than the very less than the m2, right? Suppose that this is moving the velocity of u1 and this is moving the velocity of u2. After the collision, what will happen? This m1 will move with the velocity of v1 and this m2, this is a greater, right? v2, right? Now what will happen? suppose that, as we know that v1 is equals to the m1 minus m2 upon m1 plus m2 multiplied by the u1 plus 2m1 sorry 2m2 u2 upon m1 plus m2. Now suppose here that, as I discussed, that m1 is very much less than to m2, so m1 is negligible, right? So we suppose that m1 is equals to 0, because m1 is negligible here, because m1 is very much less than m2, so m1 is negligible, so m1 is equals to 0. Suppose that here m1 is 0 and here minus m2 will remain. When m1 will plus with m2, here this will get 0, right? This whole term, this m2 will get 0 and this will get 0, because these both m1 is equals to the 0. m1 will cancel with m1. Here u1 remaining minus u1 is remaining plus. This will be right 2m2 u2 upon m1 plus m2. Here I have discussed that the u2 is equals to the 0, so when u2 will multiply with m2, that will be 0. When u2 will multiply with this whole term will be equals to the 0. This whole term will be equals to the 0, so v1 will be equals to the minus u1, right? Now here what happens that when they will collide, when this is a light body, right? This is a light body and this is a heavier body, right? When light body will collide with the massive body, this is in a rest, this heavier body is in the rest, that's why it is equals to 0. u2 is equals to the 0. Why? Because this heavier body is in the rest. When lighter body will collide with heavier body, the velocity of heavier body will get this velocity, this m1 will get rebound. As its answer, you can see here that v1 is equals to the minus u1. This v1 is equals to the minus u1. Why? Because when this lighter body collide with the heavier body, this m1 will get rebound, this m1 velocity will get rebound, that will be equals to the minus 1. Minus the, suppose this minus represent the opposite direction, that it's moving in this direction, but when we get minus in result, that will go in this direction, right? So when lighter body will collide with the heavier body, and lighter body, mass of lighter body is very much small, so the lighter body when collide with the heavier body, this velocity of my lighter body will get the minus, that will get in the opposite direction, right? Now if we talk about the case 4, if we talk about the case 4, what will happen in this? The question is that in this case 4, that when a massive body collide with lighter body, when a massive body will collide with a lighter body which is in a rest, which means lighter body is in a rest, here m1 is very much greater than the m2 and u2 is equals to the 0. Now suppose that here this is a m1, this is greater, and this is a m2, right? This is a lighter. This is you moving the velocity of u1 and this is moving the velocity of u2. So when a massive body, when this will collide with this one, this will collide, this one, m1 is collide with the m2, what will happen? This is a m1 with the velocity of v1 after collision, and this m2, sorry, this is a m1 moving the velocity of v1, and this is a m2, that is small, right? Velocity of moving the velocity of v2 after collision. Now what will happen? In this, u2 is equals to the 0. u2 is equals to the 0. Right. Now if you know the formula, v1 is equals to the m1 minus m2, m1 plus m2, and multiply by the u1 plus 2m2 u2 upon m1 plus m2. As I discussed here that m1 is very much greater than the m2, so we will suppose that m2 is negligible, so that will be equals to 0, right? So here v1 is equal to m2 will be 0, m2 will be 0, right? So m1 upon m1, this will be cancelled with each other. Then what will be remaining, that this one u1 plus 2m2 u2 upon m1 plus m2. This will get 0 because m2 is equal to 0, then it will multiply by the u2 and it will divide by this, so this one will be get the 0. So the v1 will be equals to the 2u1. Alright, this will be equals to the 2u1. Now what is the result? That when a massive body collides with a lighter body, so the velocity of massive body here, the velocity of v1 will be equals to the 2u1, which when the velocity of massive body will be equals to the initial velocity of the massive body, that will be equals to the v1 is equals to the 2u1. So that was the case 4.